Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're doing okay. Today we're gonna talk about child development. So the reason that I have been postponed about this project is because we have so many topics that we need to talk about. So let's go ahead and jumping into child development. So the topic will be involved with child development and their mental health. So let's first talk about their issue. So when we talk about children, we are referring maybe probably I would say younger infant to the teenager ages. So let's say the kids is between 1 to 9. So today that's just focusing on the kids probably below 10. So they do have a lot of common problem actually. That's begin with feeding disorder. That's the most common one. And why would I say that? Because historically and doing a lot of research and especially empirical research has been showing, the statistics also has been showing that there are many children or baby with difficulty follow through the eating pattern. It's nothing to do with environmental issue. It's just they just have a problem eating. So let's give an example. Let's say if you want your children to eat more food when they were younger, and usually they don't want to eat, and then you have to use some type of reinforcement. So let's just say I give the kids some dessert after if they eat something. So you cannot tell the kids, okay, you will have dessert after food. So maybe the kids will get into that pattern. They will start to eat a little bit more because they know there will be a reward afterward, and the dessert will be the reward. And that kind of, we have to talk about that again. So this is a technology, not technology. This is some kind of technique called reinforcement, positive reinforcement. And why is this called positive reinforcement? Because you are give the kids more incentive, you give them more dessert, and then they will be eat more food. So you kind of get that outcome that you wanting to have, right? So basically you provide dessert as a stimulus, and then they will eat more food afterward. So that's why we call it as reinforcement, positive reinforcement, because you are providing dessert and then they are eating the food in order to eat more food. But sometimes you have to kind of worry that when they eat more, so that's what we're going to talk about. So when they eat more, then the feeding disorder occur. The feeding disorder either occur when they eat less or when they eat more, because you use dessert as a way to help them to achieve your goal. Means that you want them to eat more, and then once you add out more dessert and they eat more, but then you may have to worry about they may have some kind of obesity in the future if they kind of eat more. So this is some kind of feeding disorder things that you kind of have to worry about, because at beginning you're probably gonna worry that they eat less, but then when they start eat more because you add more dessert, and they kind of their body may turn into kind of obesity in the future when they get older. So that's something that we probably need to worry about. But what is the cause of feeding disorder? There's many things, because the child may have a temperament. They feel discomfort, certain food they don't like, but they're young, they don't want to tell you. And then there maybe some issue with they may have autism, you don't know. If they're the normal kids, they may have different discomfort, but they will not reveal to you. They may have anxiety. That's why it's very important to have a child psychiatrist to be able to kind of help you go through that courses, and you will find out why the kids have some kind of feeding disorder. There is a lot of solution online. You can kind of diagnosis, helping the kids go through with different type of seeing the psychiatrist, seeing the different type of nurse practitioner, child psychology, child doctor. Those people may be able to help. And if they suffer from some kind of autism, they may have to go see a speech language pathologist. So those are type of thing about the feeding disorder. And the other thing that I want to talk about is tantrum. So we all know kids will have a lot of tantrum. They kind of express their idea. They don't know how to express their idea, so they feel very frustrating. But most likely it's because they are losing the control. So we know as an adult, we sometimes feel there is a loss of a control. But as a child, if imagine a child feel very discomfort, and they may also suffer from because they're unable to tell you what's going on, so there will be a losing of a control in that part. So they feel like frustration, they feel disorganized. There's a lot of issue to deal with the kids that who actually suffer from tantrum. So there is some other way that you can deal with it. Sometimes you can kind of ignore the situation, you can kind of walk away, and then maybe the tantrum will be, slowing down when the time comes back by, after a couple hours they may get tired, and then they will just like go to sleep. And then you also have to kind of not yelling at the kids. That's something that I would not agree upon, because you are a role model of a child. So basically you have to make sure they stay calm and don't feel frustrated. And that's a whole point of it, is to reduce their behavior, reduce their tantrum. You don't want to use a lot of negative enforcement. At least you have to. So in the future, we will start talking about like some kind of positive reinforcement and what is a negative reinforcement, but not in this section. And then you also need to make sure that give the kids some easy command, easy command. So you kind of can develop some kind of phrases, and to make sure the kids will understanding the different command. Because when they were younger, you can kind of use certain phrases to help the kids to learn, and then once they kind of memorize those commands, they will be able to behave a little bit better in terms of parenting. The kids will also love you to give them a hug, because they're pretty young, they need attention. So if you constantly provide positive feedback to the kids, to the baby, give them the hug, they will remember that, and then that will also reduce their chance to have a tantrum during the course of your parenting. And then one thing I want to focusing on is, if your child exhibit certain type of aggressive behavior, you do need to handle that immediately. Why? Because you don't want them to develop a lot of when they grow out. If you don't coach your kids to reduce that aggression, they will develop a lot of aggression when they get a little bit older. So you have to minimize that aggression behavior immediately in order to make sure that they're doing well. So that's about the solution, how to reduce the tantrum. And the last thing I want to talk about is their mental health. So the most obvious problem that kids may have in terms of their mental health, according to the research, or according to my limited experiences, it's pretty normal for them to have some kind of depression, anxiety, but those type of behavior doesn't really show up until maybe when they get a little bit older. But one thing that I would like to talk about will be attachment theory. I don't know if every one of you hear about the attachment theory. So basically, has been studied for many times. It's empirical research talking about the kids will become very attached to the adult. Certain kind of sensitive and responsive social interaction, because they pretty needed when they were younger, and then they need a lot of attention. So when the kids have those type of attachment, to attach to you, you kind of have to work your way, either talk to the child psychiatrist to find out a way to reduce their attachment, because ultimately when they get older, you don't want them to attach to you too much, because that will create a lot of problem. That's why we see a lot of kids, they grow out, they become too attached to their parent. They are not be able to independently live by themselves. And then there's also a lot of reason that attachment theory is important because, like I said before, it has been modified by the empirical research. So those type of empirical research teach us and tell a lot of clinicians that when the kids start to get older, they need to kind of develop their own thinking, independent thinking. So that's a time that they need to be detached with their parents. So let's say if when the kid was very young and the parent didn't notice that, they kind of enjoying when the kids is too attached to them. Then when they get older, they will not be able to detach, right? They will become very needy. And if you heard a term called the man child, that's something happened to the men when they grow up and they're still very attached to their mother. And that's just, will be creating a lot of problems. So those are type of mental health problems that kids may have when they were younger if you're not like kind of diagnosed or kind of addressed to that issue. And other than that, kids does not suffer a lot of mental health issue. If you dealing with them and monitor them closely, there won't be a lot of problem. So that's it for today. If you do have any question, concern, feel free to shoot me any email or leave any comment on YouTube. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.